Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to TechGeek webinar series, our endeavor to empower techies. We believe that sharing of knowledge is the key to enhance our skills and grow us as professionals. With this principle in mind, we have initiated a series of webinars conducted by industry experts to give you all a crisp insight of various domains. The topic of today's session is Ethical Hacking and Pen Testing, Giant Opportunities. This is the first session in the IT security series that we would be conducting in the coming months. Our guest speaker today is Mr. Hitesh Chaudhary, CTO and researcher at Igneous Technologies. Hitesh Chaudhary is a renowned security researcher over the internet. He is mostly known for offering his service to police department and army intelligence for solving various typical cyber crimes. So far, he has presented a lot of talks and workshops in various institutes and companies all across India. His areas of interest include web application security, open source, backtracking operating system, wireless networks, and various others. He is a regular at MIT for various research and courses. Apart from this, he is also the founder of a website called EducationTube, www.educationtube.net, having viewers from 30 plus countries, which is entirely dedicated to freely distribute various computer technologies via video lectures. One of his patent work is also under filing process. He has also got interviewed by more than 20 media companies and channels like TOI, DNA, Radio Mirchi, Pentest, India News, etc. So without further delay, I introduce you all to our guest speaker. Over to you, Mr. Hitesh.
Okay, hello. Hope you can hear me.
Yeah, you're audible.
Okay, so without further delay, let us begin our session. First of all, hello to all TechGeek viewers and welcome to this webinar. Lots of New Year wishes from my side to all the webinar participants as well as to the entire TechGeek team as well. In this webinar, we will look at the most hot topic of the market, and we will look at the opportunity grabbing tactics in the world of information security. Let me quickly summarize what I will do in this webinar. First of all, I'll guide you through the real world entire crime scenario, and I'll compare the real world crime scenario with the internet crimes. Then apart from this, we will take that how these crimes can be tackled on the real world as well as on the internet world. After that, we will have a session that is there a prerequisite for the new and the freshers to begin in this world. Then after that, we will look at what are those prerequisites. Then for the researchers, we will have that what are the opportunities for the researchers to present their papers and all the related stuff. And finally, we will look at what are the job opportunities and how you can learn this so-called ethical hacking topic via the internet searches and Googles. So without any further delay, let us begin. So a summarized way to talk about these things is to give it a name that is familiar to all, and that name is ethical hacking, a very popular name among the internet. We can have a great number of opportunities if you as a fresher want to start, or if you are planning to have a change from the present developer field, then this might be the right place to seek out. So let's get started. A little introduction to me. My name is Hitesh, and since last many years I'm associated with information security field. I have trained many professionals and college students on the InfoSec education, especially on the SQL injection, backtrack, Metasploit, various wireless technologies, and kind of the things. My webpage is www.hitesh.co, and I would appreciate if you would go through with that, and you can use my contact form at my website for further details, or you can be in touch directly with me with my email. And just a few months back, I started an initiative known as the itube.ignistech.com, in which I have started to post various custom designed videos on the various technologies like C, C++, Java, ASP.NET, C Sharp, Android development, Microsoft Word, Office, and kind of others. So within a few months, I got a huge response from the crowd, and I got viewers from more than 30 countries all across the globe. So I decided why not to mold this concept into a different form, and I started a website which I am very first time I'll launch out here. That is www.educationtube.net. The website is already up and running, and within this week we will post more than 200 videos on various languages like C, C++, Python, Java, Linux, Android app development, and all these videos are from the very scratch, custom designed, and absolutely free for you. So I would highly appreciate if you will uh, donate some to Education Tube, and by the donation I literally means donate your education, donate your concepts to us and your queries. So without any further delay, let us take to the first thing. The first very opportunity I would like to have is to state that crimes are crimes, whether they are of real world crimes or crimes on the internet or whatever. Crimes are always crime. If you are familiar with this picture, it is well good, and if you are not, then let me take you to that. He is Mr. Kelling. Mr. Kelling is an American criminologist and a researcher fellow at Harvard University. And why I'm posting this picture in front of you is because I want to share his theory with you. He postulated a very interesting theory that is known as the broken window theory, which is very much popular among all the students of the criminologist and all the cyber experts and pretty much all those. If you want to have a visit on the details, you can go through with this link, but for the rest, let me summarize you this. He just postulated that to stop further vandalism and escalation into more serious crimes, petty crimes must be dealt with more seriousness. Let me elaborate this. Let's say there is a lonely house with a few broken windows in it. So what will happen after some time? A few more kids will come and will break some more windows. After that, somebody will came and bang into the door and let the door be apart from the house. After some time, then eventually and gradually, people will start living there for night outs, and after a few months it will become a doping center and a prostitution pickup point, and the whole street will be corrupted very soon. And all this started what? And all this started because nobody came with forward to take the responsibility that I will take care of that broken window, and I'm the person responsible for this house, and you cannot do for the legal stuff. So this was the broken theory postulated by George Kelling, and this theory simply states that if you will not deal with the single and the small crimes, that crimes will take a huge model in a few days, and you have to spend more money, more time, and more aggression to deal with that. The same thing and the same theory was utilized by this person. He is William Bratton, who was in the New York Police Transit at the late 80s. At the late 80s, the New York subway was kind of a hell. Nobody used to go out there and want to do travel or some sort of things at the New York subway. So he became the police transit at that time in New York, and he utilized the broken window theory in such a great manner that people are still remembering him. What he did, that it was used to be a mugger's place at the New York subway after the, if you are a good person after 6 or 7 in the evening, you would not like to go, or you would not like to travel among the New York subways. So what he decided, Bratton took the concept of broken theory and he started an initiative that I will just clean the trains, and I will not allow to pass any train which is dirty. So people thought that he's just kind of a mad or sick person, that he's trying to polish the Titanic when he is about to sink. So lots of things were happened and lots of criticism was there. But later on, he just was kind of awesome. He started to check the tickets very soon. So what happened with that? The armed mugger used to buy tickets, because if they were not having any tickets, it officially allowed the Breton to charge those muggers and to search for their backgrounds, and eventually they will be charged with another offense, that is to carry the guns. So later on he decided that cleaning from the trains to checking the tickets to checking the muggers, and later on he swept out the entire crime from the New York, and he became kind of a great huge. So Breton utilized this broken window theory in his day-to-day life to solve these crimes. So my point about is that to deal with any kind of crime, hacking, or any other incident, you have to start from that scratch, that same broken window which is being out there. So what are the importance of precautionary security? As we can say, the more the women are in the work empowerment, it reduces the cost eventually. As you can see from the states like Kerala or somewhere, where more women are in the empowerment, and it decreases the cost. So if the incident happens, like the Delhi rape case incident or the Twin Tower incident, or the list goes on, if these types of incident happen, who are paying for that? Us. The common man is paying for that. But we don't realize until we compare it with our real life scenario. So a few days back, someone made a statement that rape in Delhi increases the price of a McDonald's burger. Now that's kind of a very funny statement. How it can? But eventually we are the person who is paying for that. So it was kind of a great discussion with that person, that how the things can be appraised with in sense of economy. So the point is actually, if you are a person who is going out into the malls or McDonald's or any other things, you mostly times see some people who are checking you, who are displaying some DTMFT into your pockets, or some few people who are having mirror, who are assigned to have a mirror that looks under your car or something like that. So who is paying for these securities and all these things? We. Actually, we are the person who is paying for all these stuff and all these security implements. Let's say there is a case of Twin Tower incident that happened in the mall or somewhere like that. So these are like one-way switches. If any incident happened to the Hotel Taj, the security get doubled. And let me frankly say to this, is there any organization or governmental body that can say that, okay, the incident happened way back, and now we can remove those security? No, we can't. Simply not. If the incident happened and we imply to double the security will remain as it is. It is not going like that. It's once it's set to on, and then after some time we can remove that security. So every common people is paying for those security bills, those guards that are standing out of a mall. So a part of our money that we are paying for our burgers, coffee, drinks, alcohols, whatever it is being sent, amount of that expenditure is being sent to those security guards. So this is a real precautionary security that we are spending instead of producing anything. Liked or not liked, these things are happening, and we have to spend some of our amount into those security measures. Similarly, in the security field, if something goes hacks or some of our websites got defaced, then we have to spend some of our amount in those security measures as well. So let us take a look on the broken window in the security. So if you see every petty hack that says, can I hack into Gmail, or someone hacks into your Gmail account, or someone hacks into your website knowingly or unknowingly, can be dealt with a very few amount to pay. But if you look after a few days when this will become massive and giant, then you have to pay a huge amount of money in hiring security professionals or ethical hackers or whatnot. So a massive model of these security hackers is anonymous. Some of you might have heard about this group, a very naughty group. Hope they are not listening to me. Some hackers like Anonymous are also having a political humor. Just a couple of months back, they hacked into the Fox account, Fox News channel, and they posted a tweet from that Barack Obama is no more with us. White people can have a champagne and black people can have a bandage at their arms. So this created a lots of political issues in those, and later on it was being accepted by the Fox News that yes, our account was compromised. So this can be very massive when we are dealing so much with the cyber security and the incidents. Uh, Later on, after that, the credit card planet incident happened. Uh, Credit card planet, if you are aware about that, that is very good. And if you are not, actually Credit Carders Planet was a website that emerged in the late 90s, and that website was officially dealing, you can say that, as a supermarket for the hackers. Hacker used to sell their credit card details, purchase some credit card details out there, and these websites are very much easy to find out on the Google. So broke in the security is emerging very high rate, and still people are less worried. What people usually say, if somebody defaces my website, I'll upload that again. There is no harm into that. But let me remind you that this is the starting phase of this broken window. If we are not ready to deal with this security implement right now, then we have to bear the consequences. So now the point comes, will you recruit the hacker? So there's always a question that people ask me. Let's say we are an organization and we hire a hacker. How can we trust that hacker that he is not going to sell our information? So you are eligible to think for now, but within a few years you will be forced by the circumstances that you will be forced to hire the hackers with a different name. The names can be the pen testers, security researchers, ethical hacking, and tons of others are also out here. So we will discuss what are these things and how we can proceed. So first of all, I would like to discuss a topic that is of very much importance. Is hacking a legal one or is hacking an illegal one? This is the most debatable topic around the world so far, and some people who are known as the ethical hackers, cybersecurity experts, or researchers says that yes, ethical hacking is legal. Some persons who are not so much aware, or they might be right at some point or some extent, says that hacking is legal or illegal. So let me put it in this scenario, that let's say there is a chemical engineer. I'm not offensive to any particular engineering or some field, but I'm taking just as an example. There is a chemical engineer, and can anyone out there take a guarantee that this chemical engineer is not going to make bomb out of his skills? No, we cannot. Or we don't know the future, that this chemical engineer is either going to make a bomb out of it, or he is going to make some miracle medicines for the cancers or something. So it totally depends on our intention, how we use our knowledge. Hacking can be legal or can be legal. So anything that is done with the permission is legal, and anything that is done without the permission is illegal. So I can say this topic can go way beyond the discussion, but I hope you understand my point. Now let's come back to the point. Why would an organization would hire a hacker? They would not. Simply, no organization is going to hire the person with the name hacker attached to it. Instead of these hackers, they are going to give job opportunities to the person called as the pen testers. You can say that there was something wrong with this name hacker, so people have decided to overcome with this flaw, and they have changed their name to pen testers, security researchers, security audits, and something like that. And information security education is kind of a very emerging field if you really want to have it in that. So let me take you to the very simple example. I have gone through with this link, and hit enter, I can see that it's loading really some result. Only 2 of them are out here. So is it so that Google is also not hiring hacker? Yes, Google is not hiring hackers. And if I type another name or another job opportunity like security, if I click on the search, you can see Google has got 265 results within seconds. So my point is, we need to understand what are these things and how to search for your kind of jobs. So next time when you go out on the Google or you want to have the job opportunity, search for the pen testers, security auditors, security researchers, or pen testers. Don't try to have a job with the name hacker with you. You won't get it. Now the most important topic for the freshers. Many times freshers come to us and ask that I am a coder and I want to be into the cybersecurity field. Can I do it? But many times people says that I don't like coding at all and I want to be in cybersecurity field. Can I into that field? So my point is out here that there are always a two phase of any kind of internet. One is the developer phase and another is the user phase. Let's take an example of Dreamweaver software, very popular among the web developers and web designers, and most of the computer people knows about this. Only few of us are having much capabilities that we can develop this software. But many of us, comparing to the developers, many of us are here, they can use this software with kind of a great efforts. So you can be in the cybersecurity field. If you are a coder, it's very much fine. You can jump into the cybersecurity field. If you don't like the coding as well, then also you can jump into this field. There are kind of a very different things in that. So, and once you jump out into the cybersecurity field, there are some prerequisites. The first prerequisite is the overview of language. I don't say you have to be master in any kind of language, but you need to have certain aspects and certain clarity about the language and programming that you should have before jumping into the cybersecurity field. And apart from language overview, if you are having a Linux knowledge, then this might add a +1 to your resume and to your knowledge about the cybersecurity. And if you don't like coding at all, then this might be a right place to go with that. Go with Linux, go with networking and security. You will hardly need a few codes to learn and you can jump in that. So after that we have decided that okay, cybersecurity is my kind of field and I will jump in that. What are the steps to start with? The first step, as we say, when we learn out any game or sort of things, what is the first step that we want to learn? The first step is the cyber laws. As in case of our cybersecurity, first learn how to play this game, then start this game. And the cyber laws. Now the question arises, the tech person and the law, is it a good combination? And I says of course it is not. Tech person don't like to be involved in the laws and all these fields, but you have got no choice. You have to understand some of the basic cyber laws, that what are the do's and what are the don'ts. I don't say you have to do an entire PhD or you have to memorize all these laws, sections and all these things, but an overview is required. Also try to have a various looks on the various case incidents that used to come in the newspapers, that what are the wrong in that. Like somebody hacked into the Facebook account or somebody hacked into the Gmail account. So why he got a trip to the jail? So all these things should be very much clear, that what is legal and what is illegal. At what extent should I go with the cybersecurity field? And after that you have gone through with the laws and all that, go through with the NOC format as well. NOC is the non-objections certification, you can say, and other legal aspects that you need to discuss with the clients. It is not like the website development deal that your client has said, okay, develop me so and so website, and you are going to develop that. It is cybersecurity. You have to very precise and very cautious about that. You have to do legal formalities first, and then you can start your project. So as we have seen, what are the job opportunities? We have already gone through with the Google jobs. you can also go through with this link to search for the Google jobs. And various others are also having the job opportunities and various rewards, bounties, and all the things. Let me take you with another thing on the Facebook, that here is the link www.facebook.com/whitehat, that Facebook is also appreciating those persons who are reporting the vulnerability or the security disclosure to them. But there is a little subsequent out here, that if I click on the report vulnerability, let's say I found some loophole in the Facebook, and if I click that I don't have the technical details, the Facebook will not respond me pretty well. It will redirect me to just to the security page, and it is not taking my report as that much of seriousness. And if I have the technical details, then you can see a different form is out there. You have to define the vulnerability type. Is it XSS, SQL injection, or database injection? So my point is, if you are having a technical knowledge along with your extra out-of-the-box mind, then this might be a great opportunity. And as you can see in the bounty, the Facebook itself says that we have got a $500 reward for each of the thing that you report to us, and so on. In the later period of time, every person is going to need a cybersecurity expert, whether it's a Facebook, Yahoo, and of course the websites like PayPal, Snapdeal, Flipkart, who are doing a lots of online transaction, are going to need these cyber experts in the future. And of course, to the universities, campus, everybody is online, either through the website, Gmail, or any of those things. A single deletion of the email can get you out of the project worth rupees 1 crore or 2 crore. So cybersecurity is kind of a very important topic. Now let's come back to the point as a fresher perspective, that cybersecurity is kind of a very giant opportunity and very giant field. So we need to categorize it down that yes, I want to be a cybersecurity expert. Then what are the fields that I need to learn? What are the paths and what are the divisions in front of me? So as a fresher, there are, if you search out on the Google, I want to be a cybersecurity, you will find tons and tons of courses provided by the various companies. I don't say that you have to choose a particular company or particular that, but you have to choose first that what type of expert are you going to be. So I have categorized a few of them along with the prerequisites and what you need to search out on the Google, and then you can choose your courses or you can learn it for free on the Google as well. So the very first thing is a web application security expert. If you are a web security person and you want to be a web security expert, the first prerequisite for this is a knowledge of few languages like HTML, PHP, ASP, some server-side languages, some of the SQL commands, and all these things are compulsory for this. You need to learn OWASP concepts, some injections, accesses, that is cross-site scripting, CSRF, and cookie attacks in that. Some people might be not having the same view as mine. This says that anyone can be a web application security, and let's take example of injections. Anyone can learn database injection without the knowledge of PHP and database. My views are a little different. If you want to be an expert and you don't know how actually a PHP code looks like, you can learn SQL injection, but who is going to provide the security measures for that? If you are not good at all, you have never seen a database in your entire life, and you are very good at the injection point of view, but the time eventually will come when your career will shut down because of the lacks of your programming skills or your programming knowledge. So don't do that. Have an overview. I don't say you have to be at all a master in PHP, you have to be a developer, but some sort of adequate knowledge of PHP, ASP, and other database like MySQL or SQLite or some others need to be with you if you are going to be a web application security expert. Try to search out on the Google like OWASP, SQL injection, cross-site scripting, cookie attacks, and you will find a huge amount of data over the internet, and you can learn by that. But I would again say, keep the laws and ethics in your mind as well. So this was the first phase, web application security. Then I have categorized a few more, like web applications, like mobile application security. First of all, you need to choose your platform for that. Let's say you want to be a mobile application security expert. First of all, you have to choose whether I will work on the iPhone platform or on the Android platform. After when you have got, or you can choose both as well, then you have to go through with the development cycle. Not you have to be expert in development, but you have to go certain development cycles that you need to worry about. Like how is the application being created, and how the application is being, how the credentials are being used in that application. Like we develop an application that allows you to log in into your Facebook, then what are the important credentials as a mobile point of view? Like your SIM number, your MAC address of your device, or what are others that are important, and how the codes are being created, how malicious code are being detected by the things. So these are the important application part that you need to worry before jumping out in any mobile application security. It is not like that any person can jump into that mobile security application and he can do a huge. He can do a few, but he will not going to be survive at a much period of time. So go through with these. After that, you can jump into the mobile application security. Then we have got a very holy grail of entire hacking, that is a virus and malware analysis. Companies like McAfee, Quick Heal, Zen Security, a couple of others are quite a good and huge in the virus and malware analysis. But let me remind you, to work on the malware and virus analysis, you have to be very precise with the knowledge of various kinds of platform. By the platform, I mean to say you should be very friendly with various kinds of operating system, because in these companies or in these analysis, the first step is to take a piece of code or that malicious code, and you have to run that code on the Linux machine, Red Hat machine, Ubuntu machine, then Windows, then Mac, Solaris, and couple of others. Then you have to note down the impacts of these malware scripts or these viruses. So if you want to be a malware or virus analysis, you have to be very strong with, first of all, the coding practice in any language. Second, you have to be very precise with all these platforms. And third thing, that I would say that you should be pretty much good with the regx, that is the regular expressions. Regular expression is kind of a text matching language, you can say, and you have to be very good in that. After that, we have got a network security field. Okay, there enough talking about the codings and all. There need to be something that people who don't like code have to go in that. Let's say I don't like coding at all, or some people who are not from the so much coding background can go into the network security field. There is a real world of exploitation out for you, but it is not like that you have don't to prepare anything for that. You have to prepare a few things, like if you want to be jump out into the network security, you have to go through with the basics of IP. What is actually this IP masking? What are the layers of connection being made? What is OSI model and all these stuffs? So after that, you can jump into the network security field. In the network security, we have got a huge bunch of exploitations out there. A couple of codes are being written in various languages like C, Perl, Python, or others, and these exploitations can be directly be used. There is a nice framework out there for the people who are interested in network security. That framework is Metasploit. You can go through with this Metasploit and you can search for that, and in the later video I'll show you there is an entire tutorial out there for the Metasploit that you can learn. Then we have got Nmap, Linux, and these things that you need to go through with very well to understand the network security point of concerns. Apart from this, there is a very new and giant topic came out of the nowhere into the field, that is a wireless security. Nowadays people are switching on to the wireless network instead of the wired networks. So this is a new road to walk. Lots of exploration is out there, lots of future implementation is out there, and lots of people are doing a great work in the security field. So wireless is kind of a great sort of opportunity if you want to grab that. So AirCrack is the set of tools you want to be look at if you are jumping out in this field. Or here is the link mentioned of the webinar that I have previously conducted on TechGig, which implies you how you can start your career in the wireless network security. So apart from this, the question arises where to get these AirCrack set of tools. These AirCrack set of tools, or let's come back to the previous slide, like the things like Metasploit or Nmap. Is there any platform that can give me a whole package of all these things, and I want to learn web application, I want to learn mobile expert, or I want to completely deep dive into this network security and all these cyber security field. So is there any option for that? Yes, we are having an option for that. So if you are very much keen about that, you will definitely go through with these three links. The first link is to download an operating system which is entirely dedicated to so-called as hackers. The Backtrack operating system. It is a simple piece of Linux designed on a Debian operating system. You can say Ubuntu or sort of things. If you are good in Ubuntu installation and a couple of other things, you can easily work on that. This operating system is entirely free to download and to use. And please download from this, and you can install a live CD of that. You can burn it in a pen drive, and you will find all the stuff required by a security expert or by a hacker is already placed out in the Backtrack. You will find lots of tools like web application attacks, lots of injection tools, and all these things. But let me remind you again, please use all these things with a perspective kept in your mind that things may get illegal too. Then we have got a Metasploit. So let me take you with this link. The offensive security provides a Metasploit Unleashed page out here. So here we have got our page. The URL is offensive-security.com/metasploit/unleash/main_page. Here we have got Metasploit, and if you really want to master the exploitation in the network security field, you need to go through with this entire scripts. And this is absolutely free, from the introduction to the what are the requirements, what are the fundamentals, how to use that. Everything is out there in the pretty clean text. Like if you want to use vulnerability scanning like SMB login check, a couple of others, each and everything with a command by command step along with its description is out there for you. You can have a try on that, but on your local computer only, because it might raise some security checks for that. So the things are already out there on the internet. You just need to realize that how to search them and how to use that. If you type out SQL injection on the Google, you will find a huge number of pages out there guiding you through the step-by-step procedure, or you can seek out for any training or other things that you would wish to. So this is the link about in the entire Backtrack operating system, the most of the language that are being used are Ruby and the Python. Of course, Python at the topmost, and is kind of a very giant language. You can find within the end of this week the custom designed lectures on the Python language. If you want to start out, this is a great place, educationtube.net, so that you can start up with. Okay, now finally, at the last of this presentation, I would like to have something for the researchers. Many people like college lecturers and college professors are very much interested in the security field, but other than the IEEE organization, they don't find out some conferences or a research paper to be published in that. So I have taken out a few conferences that were at the top of my mind, and I am regular at these conferences. It is not like that they are sponsoring me to having that. Okay, jokes apart. So you can go through with these links, and you can publish your papers out there so that you can be recognized as a security researcher. I've got a huge number of emails after the previous session that I have done this in the wireless security, I have done that in the wireless security. So now how to utilize my efforts and how to publish my papers in the security field. So let me guide you with that. That Black Hat is kind of a huge conference being carried out every year at various places in the all across the globe. Then we have got BrewCon, DEFCON, GR, RCon, NullCon, and a couple of others which are the security conferences. Please go through with these links if you are very much interested in publishing your papers, or search on the YouTube that I want to see a Black Hat conference video or something like that. You will find a great number of people doing out a lots of research work. Some are doing research works on the electronic voting machine. They are finding vulnerabilities on that. Some are reporting vulnerabilities on Facebook, PayPal, and other that. So you will be very much happy to have these links, and please enjoy this cybersecurity field. But let me again remind you, keep your ethics and moral always with you. So what is actually the ethical pattern? At the end, I would like to discuss that the client requirement is very much necessary. It is not like that somebody is telling you, develop a website for me, and you have started immediately. In the preparation, you have to sign some NDA, that is a non-disclosure agreement with the client. The client is officially announcing you as a researcher, and he is assigning you all the legal formalities to test, to do some attacks over his networks. The attacks can be like internal attacks or external attacks or kind of a security audits and all these things. When you have got the project and all the legal stuff, then you can start conducting your network audits and WAPT. WAPT is actually a vulnerability assessment and penetration testing. Then you have to kind of document out each and everything like risk assessment and mitigation and all the process into a separate document as per the standard of the CERT. And after documenting all these reports, you have to submit these reports to the developers, to the network manager, and all these stuffs, along with the remedies and what are the implementations that need to be carried out for those vulnerabilities. Let's say you have gone through with some accesses vulnerabilities, then what are the filters in the PHP or ASP that are being used, that should be used by the developers to prevent these kinds of accesses attacks. So this is all the ethical patterns about all these things, and in the future upcoming webinars we will definitely see some of the live stuff going out for the people. Okay, so this was all about starting your career on all these things, and this much pretty things I was having in my mind. This is my email ID. If you are having any sort of queries regarding how you can start your career in that, or what are the prerequisites you need to learn for any other things, you can directly ask me at my email. I would be very much happy to revert you back at hitesh@hiteshchaudhary.com, or you can visit my website www.hitesh.co, and you can use my contact form as well. So can I request moderator to take back? Okay, we are having.
Well, thank you so much, Hitesh, for the insightful presentation. I have assigned you some questions. Please read out the questions and their answers so that our users may listen to your commendable insights.
Okay. Okay, so here is my question panel, and I'm having a few questions. So the first question is there any course available for ethical hacking? Yes, there are a lots of courses available on the ethical hacking, like Certified Ethical Hacker, CISP, and a couple of others. But I would like to say that before jumping out in any ethical hacking courses, please go through with your profile first, that either you want to go into the mobile application development, or you want to go out with the web application development or open source projects, or what are these things. So first of all, get through with your profile that I want to have this much and this much interest in the programming or network security and all these, then you can search out there are a huge number of companies out there who provide cyber securities. I would not like to mention any of the names of that, but there are many. Then next question is, sir, can you explain me more on Open Web Application Security Project? Uh, Instead of explaining that, let me take you through that. So hope my screen is visible. And if you type OWASP, that is OWASP.org is the website. Open Web Application Security Project is kind of a initiative started by an organization that monitors and guides you all the kind of security that you can implement on your applications, like what are XSS, CSRF, cross-site request forgery, XSS, how to take that, how to deal with that. Here you can see in the vulnerability section, you will find a lots of vulnerability to read out and how to get rid of those vulnerabilities in your .NET project or Java project, code snippets, and a couple of various other things. So now the next question is, what is Metasploit? Metasploit is kind of a framework that have some sort of codes in that, because let me take you with a very literal example. There are too many ports in the computer that are need to be closed, or some ports are need to be set to open. So we are having more than 65,000 ports in a single computer. So sometime it happens, let's say by Microsoft 7 or Windows XP, there is a single port that is being left open unwillingly. So what Metasploit or all these things you can do, you can take opportunity of that single open port and you can take over the another computer. Or there are some other steps in the buffer overflow and kind of a deep topic. I would really appreciate if you go through with this link, Metasploit Unleashed, and in the introduction part you can see what is actually this Metasploit and what are all these things. Now the next question is, Metasploit's command can be used only in Backtrack. I would not say that Metasploit is kind of an open source system. You can install Metasploit on your Ubuntu machine as well, but you need that framework. Yes, you are right, you need your framework, Metasploit framework, to run all these Metasploit commands. And recently, for the informative purpose, I would like to share that recently when I went to the Nullcon conference, I met a person from the Fedora, and Fedora is also launching very soon its security project, and you will find Metasploit and all these tools in that also. So the next question is, anyone who has started as developer in .NET and want to go for security career, then he has to complete switch careers. I would not say that Java developers have to, or .NET developer have to completely switch on to the career, but I would say that if you are having a particular knowledge of the security tags and all these things, then you can do a lot and lots of upgrading to your career into the cybersecurity field. You don't need to switch completely at your field. Please provide the links to study cyber laws. What I will do, please mail me at my mail ID. You can see my mail ID. I will send you some of the PDFs that I am already having to understand a summarized way of understanding the cyber laws. Now the next question is, I am using Backtrack in my VMware and I am unable to connect Wi-Fi. My friend, let me clarify you that Backtrack in virtual machine is not at all capable of using your wireless interface. Either you have to use it on the full machines, or you need to buy some external device hardware card to go through with this wireless interfacing. You can go through with this alpha cards that are easily available on the eBay, that cost you around $45 or $50 or so. You can buy that, but in virtual machine you won't be able to connect through the Wi-Fi. Now the next question, I have been using Backtrack for 2 years. This includes the usage of Metasploit, Nmap, Wireshark, etc. I'm also studying the books on Metasploit framework by Dave Kennedy. I'm highly intrigued by the cybersecurity and pen test. What are the possibilities as a fresher in the field of hacking and pen testing? Uh, it's a very great honor that you are reading the Kennedy's book. He is kind of a great person and founder of all these things that we are reading. But you have to elaborate yourself much more to have a career as a fresher, because as a fresher people ask you for a lots of things. You need only the Metasploit and Nmap will not work out with you. You need to have some web application and network security aspects as well with you. It is not like that company will only hire the security persons who are having just the knowledge of Metasploit. You need to learn how these exploits are being created and how these exploits are being utilized by yourself. If you are already aware that how to create some exploits and all these, there are lots and lots of bounty being announced every month, because this is the reason why we see Firefox version 10 from 11 from 12 from 13, and these versions are being updated. So if you are eligible enough to develop an exploit for Mozilla or Chrome, then you can have a giant opportunities in working with Google, Microsoft, and a couple of others. Then the next question is how Python is useful for ethical hackers. Python is a sort of language that automates the task and works very much good in the so-called hackers platform, and so-called hacker platform is the Linux. So you can have Python knowledge with you, and then you can jump out with the automation of tasks. And if you'll see the backtrack, most of its tools like SQL map and other things are entirely being coded by the Python language. Now the next question is, which tool is best for web? Uh, I would not recommend any kind of tool, because we have a huge bunch of tools out there in the market. Like you can go through with the SQL maps or WordPress things, some network auditors, tools like Acunetics, a couple of others are also available. But I would recommend, if you are asking for a particular sort of tool for web applications, then you can go for Acunetics. Is Python the best language for network security engineer to learn? I'm not favoring the Python too much, but I would say yes, it is. You can go through with the Ruby or other, but I would say Python is one of my favorite, and it is kind of a very best language. What are the requirements to write an online exam of CEH? CEH is a globally recognized exam. First of all, you need to be about 18 years to go through with these exams. Then we have got various centers for the CEH. Various franchisees are being taken by the people all across the globally, and you can go and ask for them to have a CEH exam. But it is not like that compulsory you have to be a CEH to learn ethical hacking and all that. So you can opt with various other courses as well. Is there any offline program course for ethical hacking? Yes, there are. This is a kind of a repetitive question. Yes, we are having many offline and online courses for ethical hacking as well. Now this is Roshan, working as a software testing engineer. I would like to make my career in security testing. Please let me. How can I proceed? Rohan, actually what I did in this entire seminar was answer of your query, you can say. Testing, I have told you various kinds of testings are there, like web application, mobile application, wireless, wired, network. So if you want to be a software tester, you need to have understanding of these binaries, codes, and you can say sort of reverse engineering process. And please search out on the Google like how to reverse engineer a software, and you will find a great sort of video tutorials out there or things that you can proceed. Now the next question is, which is the best suitable language for network security? Again, kind of a repetitive. Go with the Python, Ruby, C, anything. Now the next question, for virus and malware analysis profile, what should I choose? Okay, if you want to be a virus or malware analysis, first of all, don't go with those rubbish things out there on the internet, how to create a virus in bat file, or how to create a virus in DOS prompt. Please don't go with that. Try to first of all learn the regex, that is a regular expression language. That will guide you how these patterns are being matched and all these stuff. Then go through with the virus processes, have some internship in the companies like McAfee, Quick Heal or something. Try to learn out how these companies are monitoring the malware analysis and all these things. Also make yourself comfortable with various platforms by using a VMware or any kind of VirtualBox or real platform, the operating system like Linux, Ubuntu, SolarSS, Mac, and couple of others. Next question is, what are minimum prerequisites for mobile security profiler? According to me, what I think, a mobile security, if you want to be a mobile security profile, then at least you should have one's minimum experience that you have at least seen someone that how mobile applications are being developed. What are the important credentials that a person take care while developing a mobile app? Like a normal person would not even imagine that how MAC address is important for a mobile device. So a mobile application developer will surely take that in account. So first have someone that can guide you through the entire mobile security development phase, and then you can check various courses out there on the Indian platform. Now the next question is, what is the difference between bad hacker and ethical hacker? Bad hackers are as you said, are the bad, and ethical hackers are having some ethics with them. So you can say that bad hackers will hack into your account and will not return your money, and ethical hackers will guide you through the process that you are having so and so loopholes, and will make sure that they don't use their knowledge and skills for the wrong purpose. It's totally on the intention. Now the next question, I have done CCNA and I want to become a network security analyst. Please suggest me with a correct course. So if you are already in the network field, that first thing I would like to recommend you is to go through with some sort of Linux language or Linux knowledge. Once you have got any kind of like Red Hat certifications or Ubuntu certifications, then after that the security will be kind of very easy for that. You don't have to waste any kind of you don't have to spend actually some money or anything in that. You can just download your Backtrack operating system, start reading with that. For you, let me guide you with that I am having this Backtrack operating system, and as you open a computer in that, you can go in this places, open a computer. In the file system, you have got a folder pen test. Let's say I'm a network security expert, and in the exploitation, I need to understand what is this SET. So you will be very much surprised. This Backtrack is so much well arranged that every folder has got README in that, and in that README you will find a user manual entirely in the PDF format, which will guide you how to use this entire set of tools, how to configure it, and what not. So you can easily go through with that. Now the next question is there any opportunity in the government job for security? Recently I have heard that many people are doing pen testing for the government websites and all these, and recently I have heard a news that there was a job for the cybercrime investigator out in the northern country, but only a few bunch of people send their resume out there. So there are kind of a huge opportunities for in the government sector as well. You can be a cybercrime investigator, you can be a security auditor for the government portals, website like BSNL, and a couple of others are already in the news for their hacking perspective. And the next question is, while searching for vulnerabilities, if someone's account is hacked unintentionally, would that be illegal, and would one be held responsible and punished under law? I'm afraid you will be punished very hard for that. So if you find out vulnerability on anyone's other's account, that might create a problem to you. That's what I'm saying. Please create your own accounts and your own platform that you can do all these testing and all that. If someone finds that you have intruded in their network or in their account, and if they report any kind of action against you, yes, you will be charged with heavy deal of penalties and crimes. Next question is, how to practice the knowledge or test the knowledge if it is illegal to do so? It is illegal until and unless someone asks you to do so, but nobody is responsible to do things on your own network. Let's say I'm very interested in web application security, so I can create a simple database of my own, or I can put a dummy database and I can try my injections on that. So nobody is going to claim on that. Or if I'm interested in the network security, I can place 2 laptops or I can place 2 virtual machines in my computer, and I can do all my testing stuff. So next question is, I am doing MSc Security Technologies and Application at University of Surrey. They use MATLAB and Python in some of the modules, but the main problem is they don't provide classes in these language. And only thing they do is to just give you the lab 24 hours and you go to the help manual and practice yourself and learn it. We face a lots of problems, so can you guide which is the best link to provide teaching of Python regarding to the security stuff, because I came to Hyderabad in holidays and here only 2 institutes provide coaching, and that's only basic classes and all basic things. So let me sort out your query. I am already having this website and link, itube.ignistech.com, which is the old fashioned of this educationtube.net, and you can find there is a nice link that says learn Python, and if you'll go through with that, these all lectures are being customly designed by me, and you can find approx 20 to 30 lectures. I think there are 37 lectures. All are absolutely free to download, and they will guide you through the each and every step how you can learn the Python. So not to worry much about that, and if you forget this link, you can mail me or you can visit educationtube.net within the end of this week. All the lectures on the Python custom design along with the source code will be uploaded on that. Now the next question is, the aircrack tool is some kind of hacking tool to crack the wireless password in the network? I would say yes, it is. Aircrack is the set of all the tools that are required. I will not use the term hack. I would say to test your wireless network, and along with the testing you can get the passwords of those if the links are vulnerable or if the wireless is vulnerable. What kind of educational qualification is the industry expecting for the security? Is there any specific? So education qualification doesn't matter really much, but for the industry aspect, yes, you need to hold a bachelor degree with you. Any kind of bachelor degree would do for that according to the normal norms. But there are some companies which don't care about the bachelor degree as well. You need to be specific with your guts, and you need to be a good presenter, and you need to be good at your whatever you are doing. Like you are doing a Metasploit, you need to be expert in that. If you are doing a wireless pen testing, you need to be good in that. The rest is not as such specific are there. Now the question is, what about the incident at Spanda during the Mumbai attacks regarding Wi-Fi security issue? What has been done to prevent that from repeating? So I cannot talk about the security implements that they have implanted, but let me assure you, yes, we are having security over the various hotels and all these things. Yes, we are having a much larger security aspects, but I'm afraid I cannot speak publicly about these security implements. Next question is, I am a Linux system engineer in a web hosting company with 1 year experience. I'm a bit weed in coding. Which course or language should you recommend me to learn to go with scripting and security? If you are a Linux system engineer, that I must say you should be very good in the scripting, shell scripting I must say, and along with the shell scripting you are quite good with the Linux. As you said, you are a Linux system engineer. I would recommend that give it a try to the backtrack. You will learn it, you will love it, definitely. Next question is, what is pen testing? Pen testing is a process of penetrating into a foreign network, of course with the permission, and then later on you can guide the person that we have done so and so intruding in your network, and now you can secure it. So illegal hacking, you can say, is called as a pen testing. This is a term being given to upgrade the status of the hacker and they can get the job simply. Now the next question is, courses on educationtube.net are not opening Python program video tutorial. Actually the links are correct, but the website is still under uploading phase. You will find the links on the EducationTube up till the end of this week. Till then you can go through with this Ignis Technologies link, itube.ignistech.com, and you can find still the videos are being uploaded. Actually, videos are being shifted from this portal to this portal, so it will take around 2 or 3 days. Next question is, can a protocol have a vulnerability which could be used for anonymous access? Yes, that's what we are doing. Many protocols are having anonymous vulnerabilities that people are not aware. Like if a person who is good in Java development, many times it happens, he is not actually aware about the latest exploits that come to that application or particular exploitations. So many times Windows also ask you to update your operating system or so. So this is only because there are some vulnerabilities being left in the previous version, and they are updating those and they are securing those vulnerabilities in the new. Now the next question is, for jobs in cybersecurity, CEH certification is required. I would say this is absolutely a false and a misconception. CEH is not kind of a compulsory certification that you have to go through with that. It is not at all compulsory. Next question is, will you recommend RHCE course? Does it have a job opportunities? None of the course is having job opportunities. I would say that strictly, that no course or no things can make you to have a job. It's only up to your skills, your dedication, your knowledge that will guide you with the job opportunities. If you are having a good Linux knowledge and you don't have RSC, I don't think that really does matter. Next thing, can bandwidth matter in network security, wireless security? I would not say that bandwidth will matter in the wireless security as much, because I have done wireless security webinars and workshops all across the country with very slow internet connection. That doesn't really affected me, so I hope it will not affect to you as well. Next question is, I am investigating a bank fraud on friend's account. What paper do I need or permission? First of all, before investigating a bank fraud, because you will eventually ask the bank to have the IP details and all the transaction details. So that's first of all, you need your permission of your friend whom you are assisting. Then you need a permission from the police department, or who is the authorized person who is being assigned by the police force, and then you can proceed. You can assist that police person or the legal person, but you cannot entirely take up or overtake the things in your hand. I heard hackers are of 3 types: black hat, red hat, white hat. In which they are working? In which way they are working? Let me remind you that there is no such thing as a white hat hacker, black hat hacker, gray hat hacker. It is only and only totally intention. A hacker can be a good or a bad. It is not like that there is some gray hat hacker who sometimes works for good reason, sometimes works for the bad reason. It is not like that. There is a nice saying that once a con is always a con. So once a person is bad, he is always going to be a bad anyhow. So I would not say that red hat, black hat really does matter. It's only the hackers, pen testing, and the security researchers. Are there courses for Backtrack and Metasploit on educationtube.net? Actually, if you want to have courses on Backtrack and Metasploit, on the Metasploit we are providing offline courses at our campus. And on the Metasploit, I would recommend you that the link I have shown you is a free course out there for you. Once you have completed, you can ask for the courses to the offensive security. This is actually a free course that you can go through and you can learn out there. Now the next course, my colleague said that hacking an American network is impossible from outside the country. Is it true? If so, how they are implementing it? My dear friend, internet is a free subway. Many times you use proxies of American networks and you got connected to the America. So if you have got a connectivity there, you can simply hack into that as well. But let me remind you, it is not so easy, and it is not so legal to hack into anyone's network without prior permissions. And of course, some mischief hackers are intruding into our network from various countries, like I would not name any of them, but they are doing some attacks on because by the web portals or by the IPs, we are connected from the internet with each other. So these connections may leverage some of the security holes as well. There is another question. If some hackers hack my website from a different country, is there any way uh, to trace them? Yes, there are many ways to trace them, but my point of this entire webinar was, don't let the hackers to such situation that they can easily hack into your website. Spend some amount of time and money as well, so that these persons are not eligible enough to hack into your website. Yes, you can trace that, but my point would be still that you should not be giving some opportunities to those hackers to hack into your account. So I hope the questions are over.
Yeah, well, Hitesh, those were the only questions we had for today. I am really thankful to you for conducting this webinar. It was indeed a great session. I would also like to thank all our participants for their support in making the first webinar of this series a success. The recording of this session would be available on techgeek.com by evening. Thank you all. Have a great day.